the past few weeks, we've heard a lot of information about console exclusives and the future of these gaming companies, but now we're actually finding out that the PlayStation 5 is apparently entering the latter stage of its life cycle, Sony says. Before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube membership. Now, this came as quite a shock to a lot of people, myself included. It says, after sales of the PlayStation 5 failed to meet expectations, Sony has said the console is entering the latter stage of its life cycle. Sony has set an ambitious target of 25 million PlayStation 5 sold during the current fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025, but has now revised its forecast down to 21 million after the PlayStation 5 sales during the crucial holiday 2023 quarter came in lower than expected despite aggressive promotions. They also did try to market the PlayStation Portal, which I think really took a lot of the attention off of the PlayStation 5 because around that time a lot of news articles were of course releasing about the Portal and the future of Sony, and I just felt that it really took away around the holidays from the PlayStation 5, even though they did market it quite heavily. It says Sony sold 8.2 million PS5s during the third quarter ending December 31st, 2023, up from 7.1 million sold during the same quarter the year before. But according to Bloomberg, the Sony senior vice president Nomi Matsuoka says the company now expects the sales pace of the PlayStation 5 to start falling from the next fiscal year, which begins April 2024 and runs until March 2025. Looking ahead, the PlayStation 5 will enter the latter stage of its life cycle, and for the first 2 years of the console's life cycle, though, people could not get it because of the shortages. So I don't know why they think that this is a good idea. There are still so many people who don't have the new gen consoles like the PlayStation 5 and even the Xbox Series X because for so long they were unattainable. You could not purchase one no matter how hard you tried, wherever you tried. You just could not get your hands on one. So this comes as a shock to a lot of people because, I mean, if you look at like the PlayStation 4, its life cycle was 7 whole years. We are only 3.5 years. This year, we're going to be, at the end of the year, 4 years into the life cycle of the PlayStation 5. But that's crazy to think about. But also, they just released this. PlayStation 5 will not release any major existing franchise titles before 2025. So all of this information to me screams the first half of 2025 they are going to pump out games. Then in the later half of the year they're going to potentially announce or even drop a new console. We don't know their exact timeline, but if it's already entering the later stages of its life cycle, that means they've got to have the next one in the works and they're actively thinking about what they want to do. I mean, obviously all of these companies always have tons of different prototypes for the next iteration of the consoles that they're creating, but also this coincides with the recent Xbox announcements. Microsoft is putting a bunch of games on the PlayStation and Sony knows that, so they probably feel confident that the amount of content that's going out on their system is enough to hold people over, so they don't care about rushing out products. There's no one that really scares them right now because at this point Microsoft's mostly kind of given up competing against them because let's be real, Microsoft is making a shit ton of money off of games without beating Sony, so it's not like Microsoft needs to put Sony out of business to win if part of their plan is to dump some of their games on the PlayStation platform. But there's been a lot of information surrounding, the next generation of consoles recently, and of course, the PlayStation 6 is something that I think we all expected. Some people were speculating at the beginning of this console's life cycle that this was going to be the last console generation and companies were going to try to move away from that. I personally didn't believe that I mean, of course, I think that they are always looking to the future and looking for different things to do, but it does seem like they, are going to slowly but surely be winding down the PlayStation 5 over the coming years. They're already saying it's entering the latter stages of its life cycle, and that means the PlayStation 6 has to be in the works. They've got to have a plan after this, and it will be interesting to see if any other information releases about this topic. I will keep my eye on it, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.